What automation testing tool just announced end of life? Does testing actually improve customer experience? And what does Taylor Swift have to do with performance issues? Find out in this episode of the Automation and DevSecOps New Show for the week of November 27th. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. This episode is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. Visual AI validation testing is a must-have for any automation project. Check it out for yourself with their free account offer by clicking in the link in the first comment down below. And while you're there, why not leave a comment, and subscribe to get alerted every time I release a new episode. First up, automation news. First up, we have Selenide that just released a new version 6.10. Let's check it out. So this version includes some improvements to the algorithm. It has a fail download early, select options using JavaScript. It also made the click chainable. It fixed sizes of new tabs. Basic authentication with special characters was added, and a bunch of other new improvements. If you haven't used Selenide before, you should definitely check out a few of my posts on testskill.com. I actually did a really great interview with Hima Bindu all about it, and it has a lot of advantages. If you're starting off, if you want to really improve, make Selenium with Java easier, Selenide is a great option. And to learn more, you can check that out in the first comment down below. I actually missed releasing a new show last week, so a lot of these news articles are from last week. And so this next article I actually received last week as an email telling me that TestProject will no longer be available after March 31st, 2023. And in the email, it linked to a blog post that talks a little bit more about why this is. If you don't know, actually Tricentis acquired TestProject back in August 2019, and they made a lot of different investments into the platform. And it has been free of charge by the TestProject founders nearly 8 years ago. However, due to extensive work required to maintain and update the platform, they need their resources to focus on continually improving their other testing projects, such as Tricentis Testum, which is another software that was acquired by Tricentis maybe 6 months ago. So what you need to know is if you're using TestProject, if you heavily invested in TestProject, it's ending on March 31st, 2023. So you need to start making plans on what you're going to do to replace it. Here are one of the issues when you start investing in free software. They can go away, right? I guess any software can go away, but especially if you're investing in a free software, it's not paid for. Here's one of the concerns. When I interviewed the folks on my podcast years ago, they said it would always be free as far as they could tell into the future. And obviously, you don't know. It probably was a high burden, but you just have to be careful in what tools you invest in. So if you are looking for an option on how to convert your test projects into another software, I found another news article on LinkedIn that gives a solution that may be viable for you. And this is by Adam at TestRigor. And he says they're offering an unprecedented offer to convert all test project tests to TestRigor one time for free with the purchase of infrastructure or on-premise deployment with a 3-year contract. So here's just one of many options that are probably going to come out there, but you need to stop planning because, as I mentioned, this is going away in March. So I often get asked, are there any software I can use to test against to learn more about automation? Well, Selenium Tester hit me up on Twitter and let me know of a new application he created that can help you with this exact issue. Let's check it out. So this practice site is an application that's available in 5 different versions, which simulates an iterative process. It has an Angular front end, geolocation-based pricing, a Lumen backend, well-documented API, email functionality, and mocking abilities. So if you're looking for a site to test against, so thank you, Roy, for this awesome resource. So one thing I always recommend folks do when they're writing automation tests is have code reviews. So this next article isn't specific about automation. It is, however, how to move faster, wait less, and improve code reviews. And this is a case study of what they did at Meta. So maybe you can learn from this and apply it to your automation testing code reviews as well. So let's check it out. So this article is by Patrick, and he outlines that code reviews are one of the most important parts of the software development process, which automation testing is clearly part of that process. And at Meta, they recognize the need to make code reviews as fast as possible without sacrificing quality. And they're sharing several tools and steps that were taken at Meta to reduce the time waiting for code reviews. So this article goes into detail on what the approach was, what they did, how they made things better, different tools they used to help the process as well, with some recommendations also. So if you're doing anything about automation testing, you definitely want to check out this article on ways you can improve your code reviews as well. A recent study actually found that elevating testing improves customer experience, DevOps maturity. Let's see what this is all about. So just be aware the study was funded by folks at Mabel, which have a vested interest in testing. However, the results still are valid, and I think it's worth looking into. The testing and DevOps report shared that while most respondents are still working to fully embrace DevOps practices, nearly 1/3 of them also reported that deployment frequency is 50 to 100% faster than the previous year, and another 7% reported that it's more than 100% faster. The report also revealed some other interesting highlights, like 66% of folks said that QA and test engineers are strategic or influential as their software engineering counterparts. 41% of teams that value QA as strategic to the organization are also twice as likely to rate customer satisfaction as good or amazing. Teams with fully automated pipelines were 9x more likely to rate test coverage as good or excellent. And one of the co-founders, Dan, mentioned that if quality engineering isn't strategic to your organization, you're in danger of losing to your competitors. So interesting insight. Love to know your thoughts on it, and you can tell me about it in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with these survey results. So on LinkedIn, I found an article on what I thought was a really cool, real user, real world case study on how they performed Adobe Analytics testing using Cypress. And this is by Jay, and this is how Jay talks about how they found Google Analytics testing on the internet, but unfortunately did not find Adobe Analytics testing. Therefore, they created one, which is really cool. And this article goes into detail on how to test Adobe Analytics, points to ponder on Adobe Analytics implementation. There's a demo website, some steps that were taken to incorporate Adobe Analytics testing using Cypress, what it looks like, some results, and some links to a repo where you can learn more. So thank you, Jay, for this resource. And if you're using Cypress, you want to learn a little bit more about this, definitely check this out in the first comment down below. Next up, performance testing news. So James Pulley always has interesting takes on performance, and this is no exception. It's how Taylor Swift impacts performance engineering, or lessons we can learn from a recent incident involving Taylor Swift. So as I mentioned, I missed last week, but this was in my notes for last week. And it talks about how Ticketmaster was experiencing a lot of issues as part of Taylor Swift's latest concert tour. And James goes over a few stats. 1.5 million Taylor Swift verified fans were invited to a select opening of tickets, and 14 million hosts showed up. So James has been talking about this for a while, is the impact of bots that a lot of people don't pay attention to when they're doing performance engineering or performance testing. And he has a take on how this happened and some other thoughts as well. And I also found a pretty funny meme from Marcus Merrill at Sauce Labs that covered this also. So I thought this meme was pretty hilarious. But Marcus also covers some things on what happened with Taylor Swift and Ticketmaster as well. Next up, security news. All right, this next article is a money segment, and it comes your way via Mark Lambert. This came on my radar because Mark used to work at Parasoft. He went to a security company, and this talks how ArmorCode just raised $14 million in Series A funding. So if you've never heard of ArmorCode before, ArmorCode really unifies security with traditional vulnerability management and scale application security programs so you can release faster and more securely. And according to this article as well, 60% of organizations prioritize speed over security when releasing software, and that's a big problem. And that's one of the reasons why ArmorCode received this round of funding. So if you've never heard of ArmorCode before and you want to release faster yet more securely, definitely check this out in the first comment down below. And for links of everything value we covered in this news episode, head over to the links in the first comment down below. And while you're there, make sure to check out our sponsor, Applitools' free account offer to discover how to take your automation testing to the next level, leveraging visual AI. So that's it for this episode of the Test Guild News Show. I'm Joe. My mission is to help you succeed in creating end-to-end full pipeline automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.